The gymnasium of Zenith Academy stretched 300 meters in diameter, a monumento the Galactic Coalition's commitment to integrated education. Students from 47 species gathered there twice weekly for physical education. Though the term was generous, most species simply floated, glided, or teleported through the obstacle courses designed by the Valiant Athletics Committee. Lisa hovered at the edge of the assembly area, her bioluminescent skin dimming with anxiety. As a Lumin, she possessed no limbs. Her species had evolved past such crude appendages millennia ago, relying instead on advanced telekinetic manipulation and graceful aerial movement. On her homeworld, she was considered elegant, even athletic. Here, surrounded by species with legs, wings, and various locomotive appendages, she felt diminished. "Look at the floater," hissed Crics, a four-armed Thaxian whose species prided themselves on their physical prowess. "Bet she can't even finish the first obstacle." Several students chittered in agreement. The course ahead was brutal. A climbing wall, rope swings, balance beams, and a final sprint across magnetic platforms. It had been designed for species with appendages. Naturally, Lisa's telekinesis could move objects, but the course rules were explicit. No assistance beyond one's own biological capabilities. "All right, settle down," barked Coach Ven, his scales clicking with irritation. The Saurian instructor had little patience for interspecies drama. "Today's course tests your species' natural abilities. Work with what evolution gave you." Lisa's glow flickered. What evolution gave her species was supposed to make them superior. At least that's what her parents always said. But floating gracefully through zero-gravity art galleries on Luminera 5 didn't translate well to climbing walls designed for creatures with opposable thumbs. "Need a hand or four?" Crics called out, his friends erupting in laughter. "Oh wait, you don't have any." Lisa's bioluminescence pulsed with embarrassment, shifting to darker purples and blues. "That's enough, Crics." The voice cut through the mockery like a blade. Lewis stepped forward from the human section of the class. Humans were relatively new to the Coalition, their planet having achieved faster-than-light travel only 60 years prior. Most species regarded them as curiosities, neither the strongest, fastest, nor most intelligent. Yet somehow they'd clawed their way to space through sheer stubborn determination. "She has as much right to be here as Sanyuan," Lewis continued, meeting Cricks's gaze steadily. "Right to be here?" Crics sneered. "Sure, right to participate? That's another story, human. Or are you going to carry her through the course on your fragile biped back?" Lewis looked at Lisa, then back at Crics, if that's what it takes. The gymnasium fell silent. Coach Ven's scales rippled with what might have been surprise. "That's technically not against the rules. Your own biological capabilities include carrying capacity." "Wait, what?" Lisa's telepathic voice projected to everyone nearby, tinged with shock. "Lewis, you don't have to." "I know," Lewis said simply. He walked over to her, his brown eyes meeting her luminescent ones. "But humans have this thing. We don't leave people behind. We carry each other when we have to. It's kind of our whole thing." Lisa hesitated. On her world, accepting such help would be seen as admission of inadequacy. But something in Lewis's expression wasn't pity. It was something else entirely. Solidarity, perhaps, or defiance. "Okay," she transmitted softly. Lewis positioned himself carefully. Lisa, despite her limbless form, was surprisingly light. Her species' holocellular structure made them barely 40 broader at full size. She settled onto his back, her body instinctively conforming to make the load easier. Her bioluminescence shifted to curious gold sand greens. "Ready?" Lewis asked. "This is absurd," Crick muttered. "The human will never coach friend's tail slam the ground." "Begin." Lewis ran. He wasn't the fastest. Several species blurred past him within seconds, but he was steady. At the climbing wall, he gripped the holds with one hand, using the other to secure Lisa against his back. His muscles strained, tendons visible beneath his skin. But he climbed. Each handhold was deliberate, calculated. Humans, Lisa realized, were exceptional at one thing. They didn't quit. At therapy swing, Lewis launched himself without hesitation, his grip firm despite the sweat making his palms slick. Lisa felt his heart pounding against her body. The rapid thump, thump, thump of a creature pushing beyond comfort into something more primal. Determination made physical. The balance beam was where others failed. Species with wings cheated gliding across. Those with multiple legs had natural stability. Lewis had 2 legs. Compromised balance from carrying Lisa and absolutely no business attempting it. He attempted it anyway. Each step was agony. Lisa could feel his legs trembling, his breathing ragged. Twice he nearly fell. Twice he corrected, his arms windmilling frantically while she clung tighter, helping distribute her minimal weight as best she could. "You're insane," she transmitted, half terrified, half exhilarated. "Humans usually are." Lewis gasped back, somehow finding breath to smile. They reached the magnetic platforms. The final test. These required explosive power, jumping from platform to platform as they shifted and moved. Lewis's legs were exhausted, his face flushed red with exertion. He jumped anyway. The first platform, the second, the third. Each landing sent shocks through his joints. Each takeoff required reserves of strength he couldn't possibly have left. But humans. Lisa was learning, had mastered the art of doing the impossible with resources they didn't have. The final platform appeared 10 FT away, an impossible distance for someone in Lewis's condition. "Lewis, you can put me down," Lisa transmitted urgently. "You've done enough." "We finished together," Lewis said through gritted teeth. "That's the whole point." He ran 3 steps on the shifting platform, then launched himself into space. They flew. For a moment, Lisa experienced what her species typically did alone. That weightless, perfect moment off light. But this was different. This was shared. This was earned not through evolution, but through choice, through will. Through one person deciding another person mattered. They landed barely. Lewis collapsed to his knees, gasping, but they were across. The gymnasium erupted in noise. Even species without mouths found ways to express astonishment. Coach Ven's scales rippled with what was definitely approval. Crics stood silent, his forearms hanging uselessly. Lewis looked up at Lisa, still catching his breath. "See? Told you he'd make it." Lisa's bioluminescence exploded into brilliant, radiant gold. The luminous expression of pure joy. She projected her thoughts to the entire gymnasium, her telepathic voice clear and strong. "Today I learned something about humans. They don't have wings, they don't have forearms. They're not the strongest or the fastest, but they have something better. They have each other, and that makes them unstoppable." Lewis smiled, finally standing on shaky legs. "Welcome to humanity's secret weapon," he said. "We're really, really good at being stubborn together." As they walked off the course, Lisa floating beside Lewis while he limped on exhausted legs. Crics approached. His earlier arrogance had evaporated. It was the Thaxian struggled with the words. "That was impressive for a human." Lewis just nodded. "Thanks, but it wasn't just me. We did it together. That's how humans work best." Later, as the class dispersed, Lisa found herself thinking about what she'd witnessed. The other species in the coalition were more advanced, more evolved, more specialized. But humans had something else. A refusal to let optimization overcome compassion. A stubborn insistence that everyone mattered, even when it was inefficient or difficult. Perhaps that's why they'd made it to the stars despite every disadvantage. Not because they were the best at anything, but because they refused to leave anyone behind. And maybe, Lisa thought as her bioluminescence pulsed with warmth, that was the most powerful ability of all. And D.